I'd have to go back to the beginning and say what I liked when I met him in the form of Paul's script is that it seemed an entirely honest examination of a life to me. I love that about it. When things are working right, you feel yourself irresistibly drawn into the orbit of a hitherto unknown world. The only way that I have any hope of convincing anybody else that I've found my way into another life is firstly to convince myself, and there's no possibility of doing that unless I understand as much as I possibly can what has led that man to the place at which you discover him. That sounds like a job, and that's misleading because it's not that. It's for the pure pleasure of that discovery that's where the work gets done. You discover Plainview in a state of a primitive existence, having to transform himself from the savagery of everyday life as a kind of bottom feeder prospector into showman in a way. He's like a showman. You know, he's got his snakebite remedy and he's going to sell that whatever way he can from town to town. And for a man that's lived in silence in holes in the ground for maybe years, he's now got to find a voice and a silver tongue that's going to convince people to turn their pockets inside out. For all that there's obvious work to be done, the most fascinating part of the work is the work that you have absolutely no control over whatsoever. That's the part of the work that frays your nerves, because you don't know if that life will reveal itself to you in any way that you can absorb it. Even though there are undoubtedly decisions being made, thousands every day, by Paul, who's overseeing the whole world that he's creating, and by me in a different way, my decision-making process has to happen in such a way that I'm absolutely unaware of it. Otherwise, I'm already somehow objectifying a situation that demands something utterly different. The thing about the voice, which is clearly one of the deepest expressions of our very selves that we have, I try to hear something. I mean, hear it in my own mind. All those different influences may play some part in it, but at a given moment I hear a sound, and then the work is trying to make that sound that I hear. And there was a moment which certainly quickened the pulse when I felt that there was a sound that seemed to belong to that other man. And no matter what those men went in pursuit of, and many of them left behind a decent way of life, a family, in the hope of achieving this unimaginable wealth, found themselves then living like savages in holes in the ground, many of them utterly broken in pursuit of it. But I think no matter what led them to that place, that the work somehow becomes an end in itself. And I think that's certainly at the center of Plainview's life, is that you discover him at the end of our story in the Plainview mansion, which I kind of see almost as like a pyramid that the pharaohs built for themselves, which in essence was a coffin, having separated himself piece by piece from mankind. To be able to examine any area of human experience with impunity, bearing in mind that we all necessarily live in a state of repression so that we can coexist in society. We all experience hateful and sometimes murderous thoughts, if not every day, then maybe once a week or once a month. And thanks be to God, we don't act upon those impulses. We're socialized for the main part. But what could be more liberating and more fascinating than to discover, try and explore a life where there is not that same kind of repression?